Good evening. 47 million people in America will get food stamps this year, 2 million more than last year. In fact, the number of families receiving assistance has doubled since the recession began.
But the I-Team discovered something else is on the rise, food stamp fraud. And 9 News anchor Brendan Keefe found out you can buy just about anything with food stamps. Brendan?
Clyde, 1 out of every 6 Hamilton County residents is on food stamps tonight. The nation's $75 billion Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, helps feed hungry children, and by all accounts, most recipients use their benefits to feed their families. But we discovered a robust illegal market for food stamp cards, with the government eager to replace a lost card dozens of times, no questions asked.
That's 195, 202, 29, 216, and 218. Have a good day now.
Old-fashioned food stamps, so commonly abused they were accepted just like cash in many neighborhoods. They even had their own exchange rate.
How much in food stamps?
Food stamps? About 130.
Undercover investigations like this I-Team report from 1993 led the government to replace the food stamp with an electronic benefit transfer card. The EBT card was supposed to cut fraud in half. Today, it works just like a debit card, replenished each month with taxpayer dollars. The big difference, it can be used only to buy food. Restricted items like beer are automatically rejected thanks to a barcode database, or at least that's the way it's supposed to work.
Going into it, I knew there were people that could take a food stamp card in and buy a pack of cigarettes. I had no idea that that would translate into millions of dollars in fraud.
This undercover agent for the Ohio Investigative Unit says the EBT card benefits can be traded for
cash, beer, cigarettes.
Here's how it works. Either the unscrupulous merchant rings up beer as food at inflated prices, or the merchant will actually buy a $100 card for, say, $50, with the customer later reporting the card lost or stolen.
The merchant, unscrupulous merchant, will swipe that through, take the benefits, get the cash, nothing comes off their shelves, and the recipient walks out with, pennies on the dollar, but it's cash and they can spend it on what they want.
When the government examines those electronic records, it sees only legitimate purchases for staple food products like breads and fruits and vegetables. But in the case of fraud, these are phantom foods, concealing what the cheats are really buying with your tax dollars. Instead of lettuce, it could be beer. Rung up as bell peppers, the customer may actually be buying cigarettes. And investigators are finding parents who are buying illegal drugs instead of feeding their children. A bulk purchase of a month's worth of bread could really be for a firearm. When investigators peel back the layers, they are finding out that some recipients are even buying cars. Yes, people are buying used cars with food stamps.
A lot of times it's set up almost like a monthly payment system. My monthly benefits, instead of going towards food, will go to a car payment.
What are we working on here today?
The Ohio auditor wanted to see how someone could keep selling their EBT card time and time again. His investigators discovered the federal government requires states and counties to issue an unlimited number of replacement cards with little, if any, oversight.
But in Ohio last year, we had over 300,000, almost 340,000 cards that were reported stolen. And out of those, we had 17,000 recipients who, over the course of the last 5 years, have had 10 or more cards that they've reported lost or stolen.
In Hamilton County last year alone, more than 33,000 cards were reissued, most reported lost or stolen. And 1,500 Hamilton County residents have requested and received 10 or more replacement cards since 2006.
I can understand why somebody who, was maybe in an unstable environment or something might lose their card a couple times, 3 times, 10 times. That's really remarkable. 15 or 20 times, there's something bad going on here.
This is taxpayer money that's being abused. It's my money, it's your money. And there's families out there suffering because there's children who just aren't eating because mom and dad want to get beer and cigarettes instead.
This undercover investigator says taxpayers aren't the only victims.
You'll see a 2-year-old that should be in a diaper and they're just wandering around because they can't afford to buy the diapers. But then at the same time, you'll see a smartphone and a Coach purse sitting there.
Job and Family Services is right when they say the fraud is 1 to 3%. But we spend $3 billion a year in this state on food stamps, $3 billion. If you take 3% of that, that's $90 million every year of money that's supposed to be going to feed hungry kids. That's a lot of kids going to bed hungry every night.
The auditor who discovered the mechanism for that $90 million in annual fraud says the solution is not to go after the millions of recipients, but the handful of merchants who end up with all the benefits.
And they're deliberately and callously exploiting the most vulnerable people in our society to make a buck. That is heinous. That is serious evil.
Ohio Job and Family Services says it has safeguards in place. When a replacement card is requested, the old card is canceled, and the new card comes only with the unused benefits. But the crooks are waiting a few days to report their cards lost or stolen, giving the store owner time to ring up those fake purchases. The next month, those benefits are replenished, and they can lose it all over again, so to speak. The contractor that issues the cards for Ohio does give the state a list of recipients who've received 10 cards or more. But that list is forwarded to the counties. In a check of the 10 largest counties, the auditor discovered 5 did nothing with that data, 4 didn't even know the list existed. Only Hamilton County asks why someone would need so many replacements. Clyde?
Well, thank goodness for that, Brendan, and appreciate that reporting. Just great stuff.